we're going to finish with something rather interesting, I have to say. It's a documentary series on Netflix which arrived on Thursday, the 16th of May. It's called Ashley Madison, Sex, Lies and Marriage. And here's a clip.
Ashley Madison was ahead of his time.
The vision was to be the largest and only website for married people who wanted to have an affair. When I would go to trade shows, I would say, who's your biggest competitor? And I'd say the Bible.
Yes, this is a bit of a step change, isn't it, Ian? This is really, really different, but so interesting. As you say, Ashley Madison, Sex, Lies and Marriage, and it's on Netflix. And I suppose this was set in a time when the internet was just sort of bursting, I guess. And nothing was really, these days, even now, as well as I do, that at work you're doing your kind of security checks, making sure that you've got two sort of ways of identifying yourself via email or whatever it might be. Two-factor authentication, that's what I meant to say. But there's all these things that even we are still learning all the time, and how difficult and how easy it is for some people to scam you. And so this is a true story. This actually happened. So as I say, it was when the internet was just beginning to come to life, and this website was set up, and it specialised in connecting people that wanted an extramarital affair. And it was like, I think it was the person that set it up who said, it was asked who's the biggest competitor for you, and he said the Bible. Because there was no other competitors at this time. Suddenly this internet site was going absolutely wild. People, a bit like keyboard warriors, feeling that they could just sort of write anything they wanted. It would go into the ether of life and be lost. And of course, we all know that that's absolutely not the case. You leave a footprint, don't you? It will come back probably to haunt you. And this is the problem. So online security was in its infancy, like I said, and this site was literally an accident waiting to happen, because it wasn't just your regular average person involved. There were high profile names as well that were also brought into this, and hackers got in and they started to expose the contents of that site's database, names, information. People were sending pictures, and it was just ruined a number of people's lives. And you could say it was brought on themselves. You shouldn't have been doing that stuff in the first place. It's all very easy to sit in your ivory tower, isn't it? But it's really interesting, I think, to see how far we've come, and to think that, how many people would fall for that again. I actually think people still would. I think it still does happen, and there are hackers still around, even when you think you're the most secure. But this was, it's embarrassing. It's awful. I think at times in there it's kind of laughed at, like it's quite funny. It wasn't funny for the people involved, obviously. And a thoroughly worth a watch. I kind of, first of all, when I looked at it, I thought, I don't know if this is just a bit, but we all know what happens when, things get leaked. But this takes it to another level. I think they do it really, really well. It's really interesting. What do you think, Ian?
Really good. Obviously, it was a huge news story at the time in America, but not so much over here, I don't think. But yes, you're hearing from various different bods, people who worked for Ashley Madison, people who used it, the team that was brought in to try and find out who are these hackers. The hackers said, we just want you to close down the business completely. They weren't asking for any money, and it's never been established who it was. Was it a competitor? Was it an inside job? Was it someone who had a beef with the sort of chief executive who turns out to be quite an interesting character? So there's that whole aspect, and then what happened when the names were released. And as you say, it was serious. At least one person committed suicide because their name came out and their marriage broke up. And they talked to one couple, and this is where the religious family vloggers angle comes in. So there's this young couple who they're both Christians, and they start vlogging about their family life and how perfect and great it is. And of course, he'd been on the Ashley Madison website looking to hook up with people. So yeah, that story all unfolds. There's a very interesting, charismatic character who worked in the marketing department of Ashley Madison. He's very good value. We hear from these Swedish cyber fraud experts who were brought in to try and find out what had happened. But then as it goes on, you also start finding out some very interesting things about how Ashley Madison was run, which I wasn't aware of at all, and just add an extra layer of intrigue. I thought it was very, very interesting documentary series. And often these things are overstretched, but this felt about right at 3 episodes.